Hey everyone, and welcome. We're about to do something really cool today. We're going to take a deep linguistic dive into just a few short verses from the book of Colossians. And what our source material uncovers is pretty mind-blowing. How one tiny, almost invisible Greek word completely flips the script on a passage you thought you knew. So stick around, because this is going to be a fascinating journey. So right out of the gate, our source throws down this major clue. This is our starting point. This one little word, is. It pops up again and again in these verses, and if you really want to get what's being said, you absolutely have to pay attention to it. It's the key that unlocks everything else.
And that's really the big question we're tackling, isn't it? How can something so small, a single preposition, make such a massive difference? Well, as we're about to find out, it's the difference between standing still and running a race. It's the difference between a static belief and a life-altering transformation.
Okay, so let's dig in. The master key to this whole passage, as we've said, is the Greek preposition eis. Now, a lot of the time it just gets translated as in or to, but our source argues, and pretty convincingly, that that translation totally misses the dynamic energy that's packed into this word. So check this out. Eis isn't just about describing where something is, it describes a direction, a movement, a process. It's about moving into something, with this incredible goal of becoming totally unified with it. Our source even coins a term for it, attainment. So think less about believing in Christ and more about Christ-ification, the process of becoming Christ. And this is the whole game changer right here. Believing in Christ can feel like a noun, a static thing you possess. But when you understand eis, the phrase becomes believing into Christ. Suddenly, it's a verb. It's an action. It's not just about what you believe anymore. It's about who you are actively, dynamically becoming.
Okay, so keeping that key, eis, in our back pocket, let's see how this plays out in the text. The Apostle Paul starts off by talking about this intense struggle he has for people he's never even laid eyes on. Why? Why would he be fighting so hard for complete strangers? Well, it all comes down to the kind of connection he's after. And look at the word he uses for struggle. It's agon. That's where we get the word agony from. So this isn't some casual, oh, I'm thinking of you kind of thing. This is a deep, intense, spiritual battle. He is fighting for something huge to happen inside these people. And here's another huge piece of the puzzle. When Paul says they have never seen my face, the Greek word for see is arau. Our source points out this is critical. It's not about physical eyesight. Arau is about perception, about insight, about seeing with your spirit, kind of like seeing a vision. So you see the difference, right? It's not about handshakes and seeing someone in person. Paul couldn't care less if they've met him physically. He's struggling for them to truly see him in this deeper sense, to get his message, to understand his purpose, with their spiritual eyes. It's about a deep recognition, not just a casual glance. All right, so Paul's in this intense spiritual struggle. But for what? What's the goal? Well, it has a very specific destination. He wants these believers to arrive at this full, rich, experiential understanding of what he calls the mystery of God. And the word for that deep recognition, that destination, is epignosis. This isn't textbook knowledge. We're not talking about just knowing facts about God. This is a direct, personal, I've been there and touched it kind of knowing. It's about experiencing the truth for yourself. That's the goal of this entire journey. And I love how our source breaks this down into such a clear path. It's a sequence. You see, it all starts with being united in love. That's the foundation. From there, you can move toward a complete, rich understanding. And that leads you to the final goal, epignosis, that experiential recognition of God's mystery, who, Paul says, is Christ himself. So we've arrived at this mystery of God. What's inside? What's waiting at the end of this path? Well, Paul says it's like opening a treasure chest. Inside this mystery are hidden all kinds of treasures. And here's what's inside. This is the big prize. According to the text, in Christ you find not just some wisdom or a little bit of knowledge, but all the treasures of both. But as our source points out, we have to be really specific about what these words, wisdom and knowledge, actually mean here. First up, you've got Sophia. And our source is really clear on this. This is not the kind of wisdom you get from a philosophy class or by being clever. This is divine wisdom. It's the profound understanding of God's plan, which, let's be honest, often looks like complete foolishness to the rest of the world. And the second treasure is gnosis.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. That word can sound a little sketchy to some people, but our source makes a great point. In the Bible, this word simply means knowledge you get from doing. It's direct, personal, lived-out knowledge, not just something you read in a book. This is why Paul gives that warning, right? Don't get fooled by slick arguments and persuasive speech. Worldly logic tries to convince you with rhetoric, but divine wisdom, that Sophia and gnosis, it doesn't work that way. You can't be argued into it. It's understood through spiritual insight, and it becomes the actual foundation of your faith. Okay, so let's bring this all home. Let's tie everything we've just uncovered, the spiritual struggle, the deep seeing, the path to recognition, the hidden treasures. Let's tie it all back to that one powerful little word we started with, ice. So what you end up with is a picture of faith that's anything but quiet or private. Paul is describing a faith that is active, that has structure, that is unshakably firm. It's a faith you can actually see, a faith that's constantly on the move. You know, Paul says he's happy to see their good order, their taxis, like a well-disciplined army. And he sees the firmness, the stereoma of their faith, like a concrete foundation. But here's the kicker. He sees all of that as part of their faith into Christ, their eis Christon. It's all evidence of that constant forward motion toward becoming one with him. And that's the whole point. That's the big takeaway. The journey isn't just about Christ. The journey is into Christ. It's this process that our source so brilliantly calls Christ-ification. It's not about possession. It's about a process of becoming. So, as we wrap up, this whole analysis leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. Based on this deeper understanding, this dynamic view of faith, is your faith something you have, like a noun, or is it something you do, something you are becoming, a verb?